And hello everyone, all about the gyro. And welcome to my first proper drive
minutes
in the new Simagic Alpha Mini. I'm doing a goose session of an actual USF 2000
Need
race.
to follow the pace car in the left column.
And Jimmy is a bit loud. So you can actually do races with people as a ghost car. And so I like to do this early in the week to figure out where my pace is. As I get prepped for the series, we're here at Spa. And this is my video on my first impressions on this direct drive unit and the wheel. So when I got this, I got this as a bundle. So this is the GT1 wheel, Alpha Mini,
Okay,
10
Dwayne, stay calm, focus.
Newton meters of torque. So it's a big upgrade
Flora,
from...
green. There's traffic behind, take care.
Big
15 minutes left.
From 2.2 Newton meters. Realize I'm a ghost, so you can drive through cars in this mode, which I find very cool. Alright, here we go.
Left side, clear left.
And you'll notice it does drive through you in ghost mode, which is kind of nice. And this is the split I would be in if I race this for real. So I'll have some idea of where the pace is. So, this is my first direct drive wheel.
Right side. Right side's clear. Car left. Clear left.
And so...
On your left. Clear left.
It's a very
left side, clear
weird
left.
feeling.
Left side, clear left.
Than a G29, which is the wheel that I came off of. And so 10 Newton meters of torque. So that is... than what I had in the Logitech. So, and you notice the very first thing is the amount of input you have is substantial. And I'm realizing how much more information my head is having to process being on a direct drive unit. Because before, because I only had 2.2 Newton meters of torque, really I didn't get that much input. So that's the first immediate thing that comes at you is so much more information. Now, the excellent Alpha Manager software, you can configure custom torque, wheel inertia, suspension bumps, how heavy the wheel's going to feel in your hands, and so forth. And even have custom INI files for Assetto Corsa, ACC, Euro Trucking, and iRacing, which I like. And that software directly interacts with iRacing. So I'm testing this. Right now I'm running, I think I'm running 7 Newton meters of torque right now. With a little bit of wheel weight, a little bit of dampening. Just trying to figure out what works for me. And that's going to be, the second big thing is finding out the settings that work for me. Now, for those who haven't got their CSLDD yet, you're going to go through this process with me. But the big thing you notice immediately is you have so much more awareness of what the car is doing. And so one of the dangers you're going to have is, oh, I can push much harder than I can. And what you're going to find out is that that's not necessarily the case. Now, you can catch the car a little bit easier. I have noticed that.
All right, Dwayne, 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
But because you have so much more awareness of what's going on, it's going to take your brain a while to interpret what it means. And I'm at that stage right now where it's like, okay, I know I got much more feel, but how and why? So that's going to be an important thing where practice is really going to have to be focused and attentive. Now that leads me to the next thing, is that's the shifters. As you notice, the shifts are very quick. And these are magnetic shifters. And they're very short. The throw. And so because the throw is so short, you're getting through the gears quicker. The other thing, the steering. So on some direct drive wheels, there's a wire that goes from the wheel to the direct drive. This one, though, does it wirelessly. And so the response time, what we call latency, is much lower than you would on other direct drive units. So,
okay, Dwayne, that's half distance. Fuel levels are fine. Fastest lap for Phillips, 225.4.
And so that leads to the next thing is, can you transfer anything from driving with a lesser wheel? The answer is yes. And one of the things that you have to realize very early on is find the right amount of force feedback. Like I said earlier, I'm running on 7. This unit carries 10. The CSLDD is only 5 or 8, depending on the boost pack. And the thing is it's noticeable. When I corner, I feel the resistance. There is a very wonderful tactile feel. And the beautiful thing is, in the software you can set a custom rotation. This can go 1080. I'm using 900, and it's very easy to program. Now, the one knock that I can say about the experience so far was the documentation was a little confusing. But with a little bit of trial and error, I figured out, and it was specifically with this wheel, realizing that the instructions I was reading, were for the 4 paddle arrangement instead of the 2. So,
5 minutes to go. You're looking good for a podium. There's a new fastest lap for Phillips, 2:25.1.
outside of the interesting instructions where you can tell that the people writing it were not native English speakers. Simagic is from Shenzhen, which is the Chinese version of Silicon Valley. Outside of that, this was very easy to set up. Now, I have turned off iRFFB because the Alpha Manager has all the settings of iRFFB I want in it. I can dial in suspension feel and dampening and seat of pants feeling, and it works very well. The Alpha Manager software. But the other thing I have to do with this setup is put some mounting brackets on this, because as you notice, the steering wheel is tilted a little down. Now the wheel, excellent diameter. I want to say it's either a 310 or 320 millimeter wheel. The thickness is less thick than the 488 Thrustmaster wheel that comes with the TSPC. I only have medium-sized hands, and it's been very easy to hold on to this wheel. And this wheel is helping me find additional feel in the corners, because I can feel the rear a little bit better. So, very easy to set up. You have some side holes that you can see on the side. And those are for the mounting brackets, which are in transit. I live in the US, so SimMotion, they're out of Washington State, or the retailer that I use.
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
And the bracket will go here and tilt this up. So that I can get a little bit better ergonomic feel to the unit. Because right now it's tilted down, like I said, about 15 degrees. So it's slightly awkward for me. Now, the wheel itself has less functions than my G29 wheel. I don't have a D-pad, for example. So I'm having to figure out what is the optimal button configuration. So I have 4 buttons. They're on each corner of the plate. And I have 2 dials for traction control and brake bias, and you also can push those dials in as well for an extra function. Which I found out right before I did this recording. That's why I was happy to find it, because of the ability to do voice chat. As we're on our last lap here. So if I would have done this race in actuality, granted I would be avoiding all the ghosts. But I would be in 3rd. Not too shabby. So, that's why you see the 2 guide holes, but there's also 4 underneath the unit, which is how I'm using it right now. And they provide the screws and the Allen wrench for it. Just put those in and have a good time with it. If it works for your Thrustmaster stuff, it will often work for Simagic. This seems to be the general tendency, but your mileage may vary. Just keep that in mind. So, final thoughts. The G29 did its job for over a year. But what I realized this season, driving Porsche Cup and Radical in Indy Pro 2000, is I needed more force feedback so I could get the next 10 to 25% out of the car. I had hit near the limit of what I was going to be able to get out of myself in terms of performance. And currently, at the time of recording, I am 1373.
Okay, Dwayne, you've got half your fuel left.
But within 10 minutes after hooking it up, I went around Road Atlanta.
Looks like the leader has gone off in La Source.
E3. Not too shabby. So, my final thoughts. So, this is a 3rd generation product. You have the M10, you have the Big Boy Alpha, which is 15 Newton meters and much larger. This is much smaller. The CSL-DD is 1st generation. And as I've said in previous videos on the channel, I never like to buy 1st gen anything. So as we've been talking, we just drove around in a 15-minute race. I put my hands. There is a servo motor in here. There is barely any heat. It doesn't even meet lukewarm. It is very cool to the touch here on the sides. If I put my hand on top, cool to the touch. Here in the front, very faint amount of heat. This is a fanless unit. I haven't felt or seen a vent in this, so keep that in mind.
That's 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. 1 gallon remaining.
As we see all the accidents.
We're running on fumes, mate.
So, point being that this is going to be a major step up for me in my racing. And I have to relearn how to drive again. And for all those who are getting new DDs, whether it is this one, which I strongly recommend, the CSL DD, which on the surface appears to be everything it said it would be.
Okay, Dwayne, 15 minutes left. That's 15 minutes.
And also potentially the new one, maybe the Thrustmaster will come out with. They've issued the T248, which has replaced the 150. Let's see what they come up with in like the TSPC or XW level. And then, of course, you have Logitech. Will Logitech ever upgrade off of gear style wheels? But definitely 2 thumbs up. Easy to mount. The only struggle I had with the hardware installation piece is figuring out where to plug it. So I have an uninterruptible power supply. It's right over there. And the issue is it was undervolting when I plugged it into that wall because the desktop here, the 43-inch TV I use as a monitor, my work computer over here, there's too much volts and too much current being drawn off of that. So I routed it behind me. So there's a plug right under the Monaco lithograph. Worked perfectly at that point. So yeah, first impressions, very, very favorable. To quote Borat, much success. Anyway, that's it. Very informal first impressions video. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. God bless.